Assalamu alaikum, brother Jassem Tamim.
Alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
How are you doing?
Alhamdulillah, all good. Thank you so much.
Thanks for your time, brother. Brother Jassem Tamim is a Ph.D. scholar and he is doing his Ph.D. in digital counter extremism. Basically, he is from Morocco and now studying in UK. A very prominent scholar, a shining speaker, and he has a keen eye on the recent developments, not only in the field of digital media, but also in the Muslim world and the neighboring countries. A few days back, we were together in a Twitter space hosted by one more friend, and we had exchange of views in that space. And then I requested Jassem to spare some time and join me in my podcast because I wanted me and listeners to have more inputs from him, and it is a great opportunity for learning for me as well. Thank you, brother Jassem.
You're welcome. I just wanted to correct that we are all learners. There are no scholars here, so go ahead. Inshallah, we're going to learn from each other.
Inshallah, inshallah. How is Morocco? Morocco is a beautiful country, and in my part of the world, when we unfortunately I did not visit Morocco yet. Soon I'm visiting Morocco, but whenever the name comes, it comes with colors, it comes with diversity, it comes with cultural activities, it comes with many good stories, and we have heard about the Marrakesh people, the Marrakesh culture, a lot of stories about it. How is Morocco? Would love to hear from a Marrakesh guy.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Salam ala Rasulillah wa alihi wa sahbihi wa man walah. Morocco is a melting point, probably because of geographical position, probably because of the climate and the history. It's a melting pot of different cultures. Predominantly, it used to be an Amazigh country. Then Islam arrived, and with Islam arrived the Arabs, and it is also a Jewish country, have a Jewish culture as well, very close to Europe. So alhamdulillah, it's good. It's a good nation. It's a thriving nation. Regardless of the problems we have, we stick together, inshallah. We have different cultures. We are open to visitors, and alhamdulillah. And also, it is the system of government is stable. We did survive different changes like imperialism, sectarianism. We survived the so-called Arab Spring. So alhamdulillah, it's a nice place to visit and to live and to work and to study.
That's good to know. That's good to know. You talked about the problems in Morocco. I told you that we are living on a long distance from Morocco. The only thing or the only conflict we know about is about Sahara Desert, I guess. This is my basic information about the conflicts of Morocco.
Yeah.
Do you have the problem of extremism inside your country?
Of course, we do have extremism. We always had it, and it came under the form of different manifestations, different forms. We had Salafi. If you're talking about extremism, the modern extremism, we had Salafi Jihadi recently, up to 2003, I believe, when there was an attack in Casablanca, and a coordinated attack, an attempt to coordinate an attack, the Qaeda style. Alhamdulillah, it was spoiled, and the victims. It was not a major event. But it did show that Morocco is immune to this kind of destabilizing attacks, because people there reacted to stop the attackers and to hand them over to the authorities. And this is something very unusual for us. We don't accept someone to cause harm to others regardless. We had previous one attack in Atlas near Marrakesh, I think. Years before, it was coordinated from someone recruited abroad in France, I believe. Yeah, we had extremism under the form of attacks, but we have a very deep-rooted culture of strong views, I would call them. We have very well established scholars in Salafi Jihadiyya, in Salafiyya as well, without non-violence. We have very deep scholarly Salafi tradition, but also we have very deep scholarly Sufi tradition as well. It's very well rooted in Morocco. So yeah, and we had also extremism from non-religious extremisms like right wing and left wing. People influenced by the Eastern Bloc, the communism and Marxism. So yeah, we do have extremism, but the culture of the country, we are quite united, and we disagree, but we live together. And the monarchy managed to keep people together. Remarkably, despite we had this war in our southern borders with Algeria for last, I think, 40 plus years. Despite that, the attacks within our territory are very, very limited. We didn't have some real threat to our security as a country, despite the conflict at our borders, and that shows a remarkable ability to navigate the difficulties, and also a remarkable ability to investigate and to stop attacks from happening. That is something worth looking into for other countries who are going through this kind of trouble.
That's right. And how you see the neighboring countries which have gone through Arab Spring and then...
Yeah, we had the Arab Spring. The wave of the Arab Spring was quite a surprising event to everyone, and at that moment, Morocco had already well-established Islamist or political Islam tradition, and because Islamists in Morocco, they have a problem because we have the monarchy, and the monarchy, the king, we believe, is related to the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu. And the idea, the state has never been non-Islamic, in its history. So we didn't go through that period when people, they feel that Islam missing in the state or in politics. So there was always the king, always head of the believers, always leading Jum'ah or attending Jum'ah, or celebrating Eid, and and also looking after the zawaya and turuq and mosques. So this culture of quote unquote Islamic State, or Islam in the state, it made it difficult for Islamists to sell that the talk about reviving the Khilafah. Basically, in Morocco, we always had Khilafah. We had a sultanate, or kingdom, Islamic kingdom. We can call it that way. So neighboring countries, most of them, they went to this Arab Spring differently from us. Because those countries, they don't have really political tradition. Most of them are newly established after the colonization. We got Algeria, used to be like a Turkish protectorate, and then become a French territory, then obtained its independence, I think, in the 60s. So there's they have this kind of legitimacy problem, it's like about how to establish governance and tradition between the people and the governor. Like in Morocco, we accept that the king is rich and is wealthy because we know it's like it's like the head of the family. But in other countries, they don't accept that someone just who came to the government like 10 years or 20 years ago, and from very and become So these kind of sensitivities made the Arab Spring different for us than elsewhere. we had already like a parliamentary monarchy, but the king and the people had to do some changes to that, and for the first time, the prime minister in Morocco now is chosen from the winning party since the Arab Spring, and King Mohammed VI, may Allah bless him, did something very interesting. He gave chance to the Islamists to prove themselves in government, and we had like two governments led by Islamists, and in the last elections they lost remarkably. So that was the first blow to the the first non bloody blow to the Arab Spring. You know, that's the only way. After 10 years of government, the people, they rejected the Islamists who were in the government by themselves. So compared to other countries near to us, I think Algeria is still going through the same turmoil. You know, I don't think that they recovered yet. I think Tunisia again, it's now there's a president there trying to change things. I don't see the stability. Egypt is an exception, but it's not. I don't consider Egypt as a neighboring country, and Egypt have a different story and different political setting, and also different religious tradition. If you look also to the religious component in Egypt, because it is so strong, so eradicated, and the role of the Azhar and the religiosity in the Egyptian society, in my opinion, when you kick out the Islamist, you're left with someone, you know, because you don't put the people in front of the choice of, if you give up Islamism, there will be no Islam. You know, this is people's fear. You know, if I kick the Islamist from the government, what I will get. You know, but the case of Egypt and Morocco shows that religiosity is important for the region.
Yeah, I completely agree. My next question will be from your words. I'll take question from your words. When you were describing the culture of Morocco, you told me that it's a Jewish cultural country as well. Will you elaborate this for me, please?
So, Jewish component in Morocco, I'm not scholar of that, you know, of a history of Jewishness. But what I know, and I stand corrected, that Jews arrived there since the time of Moses, if I believe. Probably that's what I heard. You know, I'm not sure. I didn't read nothing about it. So Jewish component existed. What we need to say is that Jewish component existed before the Islam arrived to Morocco. So. It was they existed together with the Amazigh component. Obviously, Amazigh they came first, probably. But what we know that when Islam arrived, there were Amazigh, which is like a different ethnicity. They are not Arabs, and Jewish people who are also an ethnicity. They are not only a religion. They lived there before. When Islam arrived, these two components, there was a split in the Amazigh bloc. Some of them accepted Islam, and those who accepted Islam, they backed the Fath, they backed the quote-unquote the Islamic invasion, and the country fell to the government of Muslims. And we had great rulers and mixed marriages between Arabs and Sharif Arabs, people from the descendancy of the Prophet Muhammad and the Amazigh. So we had this kind of mixing of culture and acceptance of Islam that kept the Amazigh people, which is, by the way, it means the free. Amazigh means hor, someone who is free. They haven't been subjugated by Muslims. They accepted Islam, and they contributed. Obviously, the Jews, because they are already Jews, they already have something. And also they were within the new arrival, within the Islamic system of belief and government. The Jewish people, they maintained their independence from. They were not requested to convert to. They were requested to be part of the like everywhere else in the Islamic world. So that's why the Jewish component, it is a Moroccan component. I mean, we cannot say that we have a Jewish community or like Jewish migrants. They are people they are from there. You know, it's like Islam came after. So that was recognized remarkably in the constitution. It was revised after following the Arab Spring, that Jewish cultural Jewish component is one of the cultures, one of the identities, component of the identity of Morocco. And
Wonderful.
yeah, and during our history, we had up and downs. Like when Muslims and Jews, they were together in Andalusia. Some of them fled back to Morocco from the Catholic persecution. And during the Second World War, also late King Mohammed the Fifth, may Allah have mercy of his soul. He refused to hand over, to accept the transfer of Jewish Moroccans back to Europe, and we believe by doing so he protected about 500,000 of the Jews, and he's respected among the Jewish community now in the world, and he's even celebrated as one of the wisest person who is not a Jew. Yeah, so that's why we are like one nation. Despite the creation of the State of Israel created some problems in the Arab world, a lot of problems in the Arab world, I think Morocco hadn't been affected that much. Also because the Jews, they didn't lost their citizenship. Those who left Morocco to live in Israel or elsewhere in the world, they remained Jewish Moroccans.
Brother, my next question will be far different from the previous one. As you know, and I know that you are a young guy, and the youth of Muslim countries is very vibrant. We have seen it in Arab Springs and different demonstrations. Now they have their views. It's a debate that their views are right side or wrong side, but they have their views. They advocate for their views. They come out. And aside of that, when we talk about the Muslim countries, one country is very prominent. We cannot list down Islamic countries without naming Saudi Arabia on the top of it. We have to, for obvious reasons. Saudi Arabia has its own history of 1400 years, history of 300 years, now history of 100 years. And recently they are changing the whole history in the last 10 years. The impact of MBS, the way he is carrying out the country in new direction and exploring new horizons. How you see as a youth, as a young person, as a scholar of Ph.D. who is working on extremism, studying extremism, watching the trends, analyzing the situation. How you see it?
Thank you for your question. First, I'm not that young anyway, but let's. Yeah. Look, Saudi Arabia is a case on its own. You know, we need to understand that it cannot be compared. When we assess, it's like every country have its own characteristics, its own history, its own social structure. But Saudi Arabia, you might find two countries that are like, you may compare Syria with Iraq, for example. You may compare Morocco with Jordan. There's some similarities. You may compare Algeria, Egypt. Egypt again is very particular case. But in Saudi Arabia, you cannot compare to any other country because it's a planet on its own. We need to understand that and we need to accept that. So this is very important. Why I'm saying this, because before we talk about it, we need to understand that we need to put on side everything we know, and we need to use different standards in order to be fair. We cannot compare Saudi Arabia to Iran, for example, or to Morocco, or to any other country. So what you said about His Highness the Crown Prince Sheikh Mohammed bin Salman. Not Sheikh Mohammed bin Salman, Crown Prince. What you said about him, he's the product. He's not like I understand in the West they talk about him as a revolution. he's the offspring of Al Saud. It's like he's coming from a tradition of strong leaders and strong leadership, and people who, if you check the history of every great, all the Saudi kings, you will see that they were revolutionary in their era and their time. What the founder, the father founder, did at his time was revolutionary. What King Faisal, may Allah have mercy of him, did in his time during the war was with Israel was also revolutionary. What King Fahd did at his time, that the reconstruction of the Haram and also the standing up to Iran. Forget that King Fahd went through difficult times, as a monarchy, and the war in Afghanistan and the war in Iraq. So all these things, every king had its own print in the great history of this country and had its own stances. And yes, if you go, Mohammed bin Salman, he's the man of this moment. He's from this generation. But he have also a great tradition between him, and experience and expertise, and also the backing of the Saudi society. So he's doing a lot of great things, but those great things, they are what Saudi peoples want. He didn't impose those changes. He felt those changes and he responded to these changes. We might not like those changes because we have this emotional ties with Saudi Arabia. Everyone has its own Saudi Arabia in mind, because it is the land of the holy sites and the land of Hajj and pilgrimage. But we should not forget that Saudi Arabia belongs to the Saudis, and they are the ones who decide how they want to live there. And what the changes we see now, they are, mind you, the Saudi people, they are very advanced and very open-minded, unlike the idea we had about them, in the Western media. If you get close to them, they always been open to technology, to innovation. Probably they were more conservative, they expose themselves in different way to the world. But now they're more open. That's fine, we welcome that, and I think it's a great opportunity for the Saudi people to showcase their culture, and to contribute to human heritage, with innovation, with the culture, also with religion, because the Saudi approach to religion is quite interesting. It's something, that never ceased to impress me, how they approach religion, how they manage to run the holy mosque can get 3 million people to line up behind one imam, and everyone, these are achievements. These are things of great tradition. So it is important to be supportive, and to respect Saudi people's choices.
I completely agree. And I want to ask you one thing about the subject you are now into. It's about digital counter-extremism. We all know that there is a huge footprint of digital extremism, and people like you are doing a lot of efforts and putting there a lot of potential countering that digital footprint of extremism. And day before yesterday, when we were together in a space, you were advising very unconventionally to people of a country assist their law enforcement agencies to get rid of it. So I wanted to know about that thought more, because that was, usually people don't talk like that. They don't advise so bluntly. I admired that. That was something which touched me, and I liked it. How can the Pakistani society in general, in particular, and the Muslim societies in general, get rid of this extremism, and especially the digital extremism?
Yeah, you touched on two things, and these two fields of study are distinct also in my return to university, because I'm nearly 48 now age. I returned to study like 8 years ago because I couldn't finish my studies earlier. So alhamdulillah, I did a master's in terrorism, security, and society, and one of the research I did, it was my graduation research was related to what extent the religious component plays a role in convincing, plays a role in the recruitment of Muslim assets. The research was very daring and very unusual because, as you say, people, they don't talk about this for different reasons. One of the operational reason, is the secret world. The secret services and the infiltration and counterterrorism is covered by secret. You see from the name, it's like there are things happening in the shadows and things that are not talked about for safety of the people who are involved and for operational reason. If someone is helping in an investigation, even in drug dealing, their identity is not revealed, and the personality is not revealed. But this is not drug dealing. This is something related to spirituality. It's just like something that touched 2 billion Muslims. It's not something that you can deal with within the community, within the affected tranche of the community. So when it comes to Islam, we are faced with two choices. 9/11, they didn't give us the chance. They didn't. No one asked our opinion, but they are going to carry attack on the West at that scale. What we had before, we had local attacks, local trouble in Pakistan, India, and Morocco, and here and there, and we were dealing with that in our own, it's like our own quote unquote dirty laundry, it's like family problems. So when we were faced like someone who decided to attack the West and bring the war to the West, and put the Muslim countries in front of two choices. They had to back the West in this war or to back the terrorists. And the Muslim community was caught in the middle, especially us living in the West, because in our countries we have already our secret services, we have already our security services, our law enforcement. We already, as I say, we already dealt with this. Egypt dealt with terrorism. Saudi Arabia dealt with the siege of the Haram, and the Iranian infiltration. And so we know this. But us living abroad, we weren't prepared to be caught in this war. So what's happened? If you don't help, the impression that you are complicit, and this is and the terrorists, they invested in this dividing the society and keeping the Western society divided from the Muslim communities. So this is why I'm talking about, if you live in UK and UK is under attack, and you consider yourself British citizen, or you accept as like a British subject, you live here, and it is in your interest to save the lives and to save the security of the country you live in, would you be, as a Muslim, prepared to give information about things you know, willingly or forcibly? Because one way or another, this information come out. So if they know that you know something, they can arrest you. They can use the law to get information from you. With different ways. If they don't know you know something, what is your moral responsibility to do? Is it halal for you? Just let's bring it to the table. Yeah. If I give information about a possible terrorist attack, or I give information about a friend that he received money from somewhere or something suspicious, or am I helping that friend by doing this, or am I harming a Muslim? Or is it am I allowed as a Muslim to work with secret services? Does it take me out of Islam? Does it make me a murtad? Because this is the debate that is used against sources of information, Muslim sources of information. So my research was covering this aspect, and I tried to demonstrate that recreating a Muslim source of information is unlike recreating other sources. You cannot use the mice, you cannot use money, compromise, or Muslims, they have they care about their religion, and unless that recruitment fits within the rule of Sharia, it will not succeed. You may pay a Muslim to sell his religion, and tell you things that he shouldn't be telling you. But if you get a Muslim to believe that it is haram to not to help, he's allowed to be agent of secret services of non-Muslim country, or even a Muslim country, because mind you, the jihadists, they believe that regimes like Pakistan or India, or India is not a majority. Regimes like Pakistan, they believe that it is a kafir regime. They don't consider them Muslim. So that's the dilemma. It's like how to answer this question. And what I said yesterday is like the point is in India, it's a matter of emergency. If there is an attack, there's like some sort of uh, terroristic emergency. The police and secret services, they need information. They need people to help them. They're not going to get the information from all of it from the web or using technology. They do use technology, but technology is not enough. So they will get that information one way or another. So it is your responsibility. Are you going to help them to get that information with honesty, with the lesser harm to the community and to Muslim community and everyone else, or are you going to play dead and close an eye and let terrorists take advantage of this pool of recruitment and use it against you, against everyone else? Because at the end of the day, we are the victims as well of terrorism. Whether we are with the government or against the government, we are always victims. We victims also, we get victimized by the society if we don't take active role in stopping this. So that's why I'm calling scholars. When someone asked me yesterday, I wasn't predicting to give this answer. When someone asked me, what should we do to stop this? I say, okay, there's a lot that can be done, but immediately we need to ask Muslim scholars. They need to clarify this question, because I know that it exists in young Muslims' head. When they are approached by secret services by questions or by requests of collaboration about stopping a terrorist act, what I am doing, is it halal or is it haram? Can I do it? And scholars, they need to be clear about this, and they need to give evidence. Alhamdulillah, there are evidence with, and like everything in Islam, there are evidence with and evidence against. And this debate has to be talked about, shouldn't be taboo. Because if you are complacent, I'm not saying to people do something against your Islam. If you are convinced 100% that spying on terrorists or infiltrating terrorist organization with the intent to spoil attacks takes you out of Islam, don't do it. But the question is, are you sure doing it takes you out of Islam? But this is what jihadist tells you. This is what scholars who are complacent tells you. This is what scholars who are scared for their reputation, because this is a very difficult topic. No one wants to talk about this, So ask yourself this question. You need to find the answer. So I'm waiting for a scholar to come forward and convince me that a Muslim should not work with secret services. Personally, I'm convinced this is the right thing to do.
I completely agree. Everything which you can do to bring peace to a society, to a community, to your country where you are living, where even you don't belong to that country, but you're living there, you are having your social contract with the society, you must try your best to protect that society. This should be a general understanding among the Muslims, and even among every breathing human being. The second part of my question still remains that what should we do to counter this digital extremism, because it is nowadays very popular. Everyone has its own world of information in their hand, and these screens, they bring up with most of the time with the propaganda, some of the time with news and views. So your comment on this?
Yes, brother. When the satellite TV first came out, I'm old enough to remember that there were fatwas of scholars saying it is haram, to have a dish on your house and watch channels, because those channels, they used to bring corruption to Muslim country. Muslim country, we used to have only like 2 channels, and we don't see anything non-Islamic in those channels within the family. So when these dishes they come, we start seeing scenes from that we are not used to, and scholars believe that this will compromise the people's religion. And with the images also there was ideas coming from the West, not only images, because new ideologies, it is difficult for someone to accept an ideology from a book. But if you are watching a movie while you are eating your lunch, you're more likely to be introduced to that ideology. So scholars rightly they said it is haram. You shouldn't be putting the satellite dish on your house, in your house. But what's happened afterwards, scholars, and because the progress doesn't wait, the progress, it will catch up with you, because there's a profit involved, there's money involved, it's a business. So you can't fight that. You can't fight the temptation. So what's happened? Scholars they realize that, hold on a minute, that satellite can also broadcast the Islamic channel. So I can't stop people from watching channels, but I can put more channels in their choice. So I remember as well that we started consuming Islamic channels, like in a wider scale. We started watching Saudi channels, channels from Kuwait, and channels from other countries, and that was a positive thing. So this is what's happening. The same thing happened with internet as well. Internet was deemed to be haram because of the certain sites and things that you cannot have access to. But with the time, internet became a very, very essential source for Islamic studies. It's like someone, you can consult books, you can write dissertations, you can do your research, and you can go to websites and learn good things and bad things. So I think social media now is happening the same thing as well. It's like there's always bad things, but there's always good things. What Brother Paul yesterday says, most of the radicalization is digital, and this is one of the chapters of my research. Most of radicalization today is digital. If you go to each case study where these people they learned or get in touch with ISIS or Al Qaeda, or they did all this online. So there's already a willingness. The radicalized person, they're already willing to absorb information from the web or from the digital space. It is difficult to take this person and get them to ask for help and go and ask to be de-radicalized. They do radicalize themselves, they get radicalized using the digital space. So the question is, why not use the digital space to help people de-radicalize themselves? And not only because what we do, instead of what we do, and we are not aware about it, we are not de-radicalizing people. We are politicizing. We are promoting our own sects, our own views. So this is not a de-radicalization. You don't go to someone who is a Salafi jihadi and tell him, brother, look, Islam is peace, and come to my tariqah. This is not de-radicalization. You are promoting your own sect. And there's nothing wrong about that. I'm not saying you shouldn't be doing it. But this is not de-radicalization. De-radicalization, you need to revert the process. The process started in a way, you need to push the wheel back in a way that what happened to that person to accept that killing innocent person is something that makes them closer to Allah. You get them to disengage from that idea. And this can happen, in my opinion, this is what my research tried to prove, this can happen online. And this is something that we don't need government to invest in this. We don't need money. We just need to understand goodwill. There are a lot of students of Sharia or all disciplines, because in the radicalization, you don't only need Sharia. You need a lot of things. You need psychology. You need languages. You need translation. So we can join hands together with anyone who wants to make a change. Because there's this frustration that you are Muslim, you're always asked all the time, oh, do you condemn this attack? Do you condemn that attack? Okay, how many times do I have to condemn the attack? So every time there's an attack happening, we have to condemn it. There's this frustration that we have to do something to stop this from happening. We all have this desire. We all look forward to go back to undo the things and go back to before 9/11, have a normal life. When people, they used to enjoy to hear the azan. People, they used to come to Morocco, they like the azan, Allahu Akbar. Now people, they hear Allah on the ground. They have to to silence my phone, when the azan go on, because people are scared, So this is not nice. So we don't need governments, we don't need big businesses to invest in this. We need to understand how to do it together, and how to put the effort and put this material available to people in their languages, in short clips, in on-demand courses. I took the idea from courses on anti-Semitism. Anti-Semitism, they are doing a lot of good job, but unfortunately, it's not for the Muslim audience. It's like most of the material is directed to Western audience. So we can learn from these experiences and Islamize them and use them in our own response to extremism. So in a way that a Muslim, when they go online, they find this offer, they need to find the counter narrative. So this is what ISIS say. So what everyone else say. So when they go to check what everyone else say, someone tell them al-Baghdadi is a Mossad agent. Is this the radicalization? Someone tell them al-Baghdadi is a Saudi agent. Someone tell them, okay, this people, this is not the way you radicalize people. You need the response to radicalization need to be at least need to match the radicalization itself. We need to be as sophisticated as the radicalizers. We need to be attractive. We need our product. It has to be like you are selling a product to people. This is what they do. They sell to people Jannah. We need to sell to people life. We need to bring them to understand and to have access to learn Islam by themselves. Again, without imposing a sect on no one. You don't have to. This is a different matter. Calling people to Islam or calling people to your own sect is a different from the radicalizing them.
I agree, and I'm thankful for your time and your wonderful session which you just gave us. And it was, again, I must admit it, that it was a great learning session for me, brother. And I hope that we will soon again sit together. We will soon again discuss few more topics, and I will grab more time from you very soon again. Thanks for being with us.
You're welcome. Jazakallah khair. Shukran.